Hello! Welcome back to the YouTube channel of Rkudo. This is my very first voiceover video in English, and today I'm gonna show you how I retouch my portrait to get younger in Photoshop. And first thing first, I need a self-portrait. I try different poses and take a bunch of images, but I know I can only select one for this tutorial. There are many directions to pick up images, and of course, usually I will choose the one that I look best. However, in this tutorial, I'm looking for something really challenging. So, I choose this one because it shows the disadvantages of my look. Hair is long and messy, skin is dry, my teeth, I know, don't look very good. The next thing I'll do is color adjustment. I will change the tint to reduce the green a bit, then I will reduce the highlight a bit to see more detail of my skin, and I like to get the yellow tone slightly warmer. I like to keep the overall look as bright and energetic as possible because I know in the end I will look very youthful. I'm exporting this to a TIFF file. I set the resolution at 300 dpi, and that will be much enough for detailed skin retouching. Here we go, it's time for Photoshop. This is what I've been waiting for. I love to spend a few moments looking closer to the image and figuring out what are the issues that I'm gonna fix in this portrait. The very first thing anybody can see is the skin. Wrinkles and blemishes are all over the place. Then I have way too many gray hairs. They look so obvious. This is a genetic issue and it's not easy to fix even in Photoshop. And I remember when I was younger, I used to have a more bubbly face, so I mimic the face more rowdy and less edgy. For sure, when I note down what to fix, it helps me work faster, especially in complicated projects. Sometimes I duplicate the original layer and start with retouching the skin. However, with this project, I think I will start with what I call morphing. I mean, I want to do everything possible with the form of the face first, so liquify would do. Now I'm cleaning up the overall skin with the patch tool and healing brush tool. I will just go overall with blemishes, not too deep into smoothing the skin. At this moment, cleaning up the skin a bit will help me have a more comfortable view of the image before I get back to changing the face form. Well, talking about the patch tool and healing brush tool, they are my two most favorites. Sometimes I also use the spot healing tool to make it faster, but only on tiny spots. And sometimes when the situation gets hard, I also use the classic clone stamp tool. From my experience, by just using these basic tools of Photoshop, I can already get nice and natural skin for the image. In my opinion, to make the face look younger, after the skin, the eyes are the second important. The areas below the eyes are quite challenging to retouch. You know, if I just flatten them out, the eyes will lose their characteristics. At this stage, I'm trying to reduce as many wrinkles under the eyes as possible. Try not to mess with the texture, and I will get back there later as smoothing steps. As you can see here, the spot healing tool is super useful to clean up some unwanted hairs around the eyebrows. I love to reduce the brush size to 2 or 3 pixels to work with it. And at that same size of the healing brush, I go on with reducing the skin pores. To me, they are not blemishes. They are parts of the skin texture and should be kept. I'm not gonna clean them all, I'm just reducing the density of the pores, because when I look at the skin of younger people, especially babies, I see very few or almost no obvious skin pores. Now let's see what should I go next. Oh, it's the neck. You don't forget the neck. The next skin will reveal that you're all you no matter how much retouch work or makeup I put on your face. Sorry for getting dramatic, but that is what I learned from my mom and my makeup artist friends. So good, I finished all the easiest parts. Let's stop and have a look. Can you see it? The next part is very challenging. Now I have to remove my mustache and I'm duplicating the current layer to do it separately. I've been growing facial hair for 2 weeks. In social distancing time, I almost see nobody and I get too lazy to shave or do any haircut. For this area, things are much more complicated than the skin. So I'm using all the retouching tools I have. Patch tool for hairs that stand separately. Glone stamp for thick areas of hairs. Healing brush and spot healing brush tools for many tiny skin pores. As I said before, when things get hard, I'll use the glone stamp. It's not very smart, it may mess up the skin texture. However, if I use it with a very small brush size, it will be okay to clean the hair touch by touch. After that, if it looks messy, I can fix it with patch tool, then smooth it with frequency separation later. Now look at how I proceed the hairs on the edge of the chin. Still very basic tools of Photoshop. Paint, brush, and glone stamp. And I'm going back to retouch the eyes. Besides the skin area around the eyes, this time I work on the very details inside. For a portrait of my younger self, my eyes should look very clear. No blood vessel, no unnecessary reflection. Here I also clean up the eyebrows a little bit. I may go back later again to add in some more appropriated hairs. Hello, are you still awake? It's time for hair retouching. Well, I'll start with the easier parts such as hairs in the blur areas. In these areas, it's easy to use semi-automatic tools like patch tool or healing brush. I also look for standalone hairs. Brush size just enough for the hair, easy cheesy. From my experience, I rather work on very small areas. Therefore, whenever I mess up the hair, I can either leave them to fix later with another tool, or I can just undo the step quickly. It's funny, I have a lot of single gray hairs and they just stand out of the black ones. Some of them have the same direction with their surrounding and would be easy to erase with healing brush tool. Some other may cross and leave an uneasy look after I healing brush or patch them. That have to go back and use normal brush to fix a tiny bit here and there. Now let's see how far we've got. Isn't it amazing? In this area, I can go on retouching bit by bit, but it's not a very clear area and there are too many white and gray pieces. Therefore, I'm gonna do something quick, and the key tool here is color range. Basically, I use color range to select the brighter parts of the hair. You know, for a young person, hairs are mostly black and dark brown. So if I can select the brighter parts, that means I can select almost all those white and gray pieces in my hair. Then I will make them darker with any possible tool such as burn or curve, and that will give me a large area of dark and thick hairs. This way does take me several trials with color range and how much dark I want to get the hair, but it's still faster and easier than retouch every string of hair. If this is a commercial job that requires a very large print size such as billboard, I'd rather spend time playing with tiny details. However, considering the casual size of the image, I prefer balance between details and speed. And now, let's see the outcome of the hair work. Next, I want to push the game to another level. Look again at the hair and I could see some gaps. At the moment, they look okay to me, but I know if I can feel them, my hair will look thicker and probably more youthful. So what I'm gonna do is duplicate some hair nearby the gap to fill it. Of course, I will choose a piece that has similar direction with the gap so it would match better. After I paste the hair over the gap, I'll delete some parts of it with a transparent eraser. Sometimes I use burn tool to get part of it darker. Sometimes I may need to use a normal brush to draw a few strings of hair to cover some minor flaws. Fortunately, my hair is quite spiky and has kind of a natural look. It doesn't require much hair work. I just fill some more gaps and it looks so much better in overall. Well, even though I don't want to do a haircut in Photoshop, I want to make it look neater around the ear. That will look like I intentionally keep this hairstyle, not because I can't go to the barber shop. I think the photo is almost there. I now look so much younger than the original image. No more wrinkles, no more gray hair, no facial hair at all. I can simply move on to the skin smoothing steps and reach the goal. But there is an aesthetic and personal issue. My teeth are crooked. I don't know if I ever go to the dentist to brace them, but I know this is a chance to try it in Photoshop. I don't think I can make it look perfect, but let's see how far I can go. There are two parts to deal with. First, some parts of the teeth can be seen and fixed easily. I'll go with them first by using liquify and then some retouching tool. As you can see here, I'm pulling down the gum to make the teeth look healthier and stands more straight on the same line. I also adjust the lips a bit to hide the excessive gum. I don't want to do too much or else it becomes somebody else's lips. The other and harder parts are hidden behind the lips and other teeth. I know this will require some tricks to deal with. I'll just duplicate the teeth, move it to the right place, then fix the unnecessary with basic tools. With this tooth, I have no other choice than make a copy of the front tooth, then adjust the shape and put into the right position. The rest is all about digital painting. And this is the outcome of the dental work. It looks so good, right? Very good and natural. Can you see the difference? To me, it's already perfect if my teeth look like this. Haha. Now it's time to add some more hair to the eyebrows. This is super easy and fun. I think that's the last thing to do with the face form and the beauty. Before I move on, I want to have a look again at all the notes from the beginning to see if I missed anything. The last session of this video is smoothing the skin. The method I use is popular now and is called frequency separation. I wouldn't go into every steps of how I do this because there have been many videos on YouTube about it already. Basically, it's about separating my image into two layers. As you can see here, one layer to control the texture and one layer to control the color. So by using this method, I can feel free to change the color tone and shade of my skin without making a mess on my texture. For example, here I'm airbrushing the skin to make it smoother and also make my face less edgy. I also airbrushing my neck and hand a bit because the younger someone is, the softer the neck and skin is. Yeah, I like to add a kiss of warm tone on the rear of my cheek to make the face more energetic. Just a bit, not too much. Then I also use the same brush to lighten up the eye socket. And that's it! Look, let's compare the before and after. Look at all the small details and texture. You know, this is the most joyful part of a retouch work. After spending most of my time fixing everything little by little, I've got myself an amazing result. I know the latest update of Photoshop has very smart filters to do most of these things, but they are automatic and quite new, so I think having my own control on retouching an image is still a sweet spot. I hope this video is useful for people who have basic knowledge of Photoshop but need more experience on skin retouching. I just share general direction and flow of my retouch work. Here are some keywords for you to search to learn more about the techniques. Please support me doing videos by subscribing to my channel. There is a previous video on retouching photo and it's in Vietnamese. Thank you for watching. Bye!